My name is Fraser.
My name is Mark.
And we are the hosts of the geekiest show alive. To the outside world, we're ordinary geeks.
But in the Fab International Studios, we talk comics and find other geeks just like us. This is Geek of the Week. Saint Laurent, gotta kiss myself, I'm so pretty. I'm too hot. Call the police and the fireman, I'm too hot.
I need photos of Spider-Man.
I'm too hot.
So, you know, with the sounds of J. Jonah Jameson, it's time for the news on Geek of the Week. And we had something pretty big in film terms this week. It was the Oscars.
Yeah, that's pretty big.
Now, if you're a classic film aficionado, you're like, oh yes, the Oscars, all about that Green Book, that's The Favourite and all that. But we weren't about that. We were all about Black Panther and Into the Spider-Verse. And big props up to them. They did the superhero community very good, like, justice.
Well,
is probably the best word.
Drought we've had up to this point, it was rather a success, I would say.
Exactly. So Black Panther won in 3 categories. The first for Marvel Studios, first ones to win any Oscars, which is incredible. I would have thought like they'd get like a set design or something like that. But in fact, Infinity War missed out against The First Man this Oscars. So maybe it isn't that surprising. But it won for the score, which is incredible. Kendrick Lamar did a great job collaborating with a load of people on there. Costume. I mean,
yeah,
the costumes were pretty dope.
Yeah, it was pretty fabulous.
Apparently all made out of vibranium.
I'm sure they were all made out of vibranium, Fraser.
And then production design as well. And like, that production design was great. I wanted to go to Wakanda. It felt like, you know, this is a bit of a tangent. Well, not too much. There's been, people who've done book reports on Wakanda to try and trick their geography teachers and convincing them.
Brilliant.
But there's a brilliant little video about it. But you know what? Fair play, and I can't think of a film that deserves it more.
The costume was one that particularly resonated with me. I was like, yes, it really did deserve that.
Exactly. And I think, yeah, like we say, like, the costumes are epic. The design of the whole, like, nation of Wakanda, like, it was... Because those were 2 big things of the Black Panther character that you needed to... That sort of helped establish who he was, his world. And the amount of emphasis they put on this score, because it was announced way before the movie that Kendrick Lamar was going to do a whole album. And Kendrick Lamar at the moment, I know you're unfamiliar with rap, is a big artist.
I'm unfamiliar with anything released after 2003, mate.
Then this may not be your... but yeah, like, he's a big artist, and for him to do that is great. And the other big winner, I'm so excited about this, big Spidey fan, Into the Spider-Verse won Best Animation, and totally deserved. Come on, let's be honest.
I agree.
I think, honestly, there was a push for it to win Best Picture. I think that...
maybe not.
When you look at it compared to, like, other animation winners in the past as well, you'd probably say it's better than a few there. Like, some were saying that its competition this year wasn't as great. Some were worrying that maybe Pixar might win it because Oscars do like Pixar. But the right film won, in my opinion. Like, it was taking leaps and step forwards into animation and for superhero films in general. Like, it's managed to legitimize, I think, animation and superhero films for, like, yeah, they can be for adults, and yeah, they can win awards. Do you know what I mean? Like, it even convinced you, because I remember when we first talked about this, you're like, an animation film in cinema, and a couple of weeks ago you were singing its praise, singing its praises.
It wasn't quite as simplistic
yes,
as
it
that.
was.
I expressed
was. Come on.
I expressed suspicion, but I didn't go, ugh.
Maybe not on air, but you definitely said it to me. You're like,
that was just winding you up,
animation.
because, you know, you're easy to wind up.
Well,
all I have to do is say Spider-Man sucks, and you cry for a week.
Yeah, but you know it's not true. And you know that you're just a plain lying, so I'm okay with that.
But, I mean, the thing about Spider-Verse was that it was an incredibly good quality animation. You can see the care that was taken. It's not just the care. It clearly had a decent budget in it, and it showed. And beyond that, they also took some risks and did some odd or not necessarily
Odd
odd,
animation,
but, yeah,
unique animation.
Yeah, deliberately experimental stuff, which again paid off and really emphasized some parts of the story. It was an exceptional animation, and it did deserve.
It was one of the closest translation art style from comics to thingy as well, because a lot of them, like the DC animated stuff, is incredible, and a lot of them they'll transfer the story great, and obviously a few of the images and scenes from it great. But this, even like the errors that were like printing errors that would occur in comics, they were featured in here. It was obviously the comic art at the bottom and the little like voices in his head. That's a big thing for all the Spider characters, and yeah, like that.
It's a pretty special film, and I'm looking forward to doing a review of the DVD release as well, because
especially looking forward for Spider-Ham.
No, I'm not looking forward to
loving it. Look at it.
But I believe the DVD has a significant amount of extras.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll have a sit down. We'll watch all of that on your copy, because I know you're going to buy it, so I don't need
bit
to.
Of extras.
And we'll
you
do like
buy
a little
it anyway.
DVD review.
You should buy it anyway.
No, we'll do a little DVD review, like a proper full-on DVD review.
Fund the many sequels they're going to do.
Well, there's going to be many sequels, and I'm glad.
Speaking of good stuff that's getting more, The Umbrella Academy is officially getting its second season.
Yeah, I hope the soundtrack is still as good.
I was going to say, yeah, and they'll probably have more money for the soundtrack. The first season soundtrack was great. Apparently, it was only a short amount, like a bit of what they wanted, but their budget restricted them. But this time around, more money, more music.
I have finished watching it now. I was about halfway through last week, and yeah, it really is very, very good, isn't it? I'm very glad that it's got a sequel, and it's deserved, and more soundtrack.
And I'm excited to where they're going to go for it, because this one was sort of based off like the first 2 volumes, like the second volume less so, like they only took little bits, and they've got 2 and 3. Like, there's a series coming out now. The 3rd volume's like coming towards the end in issue form. Soon it'll be available in trade off. And speaking about a 4th, Gerard Way and Gabriel Bay, they've got a lot of work to be doing if this TV show is going to start catching up with them. Well, they're going to live in the world of Robert Kirkman and being like, wait, I've not finished writing the comics, stop.
Not just Robert Kirkman, it's Game of Thrones is the same.
Oh yeah, but I was talking more like comics.
There's more money in TV. There are Game of Thrones comics. Marvel did a run
of Game of Thrones comics?
Yeah.
Wow.
It was about a night set before the events of Game of Thrones, and it was alright.
Oh, right. I was going to say, if it was like adaptations of it, I might read
No, it wasn't adaptations. It was early. It was set earlier in the timeline, before Baratheon was the king.
I mean, I'm just looking at you blank because I've not seen Game of Thrones.
Baratheon was the king at the start of the show.
Okay. Not Peter Dinklage. He's not Peter Dinklage.
Peter Dinklage has never been the king.
Peter Dinklage. That's my Game of Thrones knowledge all gone. But yeah, second season. Super excited for it. Like we say, the end of the first season was like, yeah, I could do with more. And Netflix have, got a perfect combination for it.
We've lost some stuff off Netflix.
We've lost Marvel.
I wasn't going to say it. It was just because it just makes me sad.
We've lost Marvel, but we still got our comic book stuff. They do more Image, Dark Horse, and we've got the Miller World now, so we will get comic book stuff on there. It's always funny when
DC, Titans, and Black Lightning. Who knew there'd be good DC shows?
Well, if you watched them for the past couple of years, you'd know.
Yeah. I watched the first 3 series of Arrow and then lost my temper.
That was your mistake, starting with Arrow. Just go straight to that. I started a few episodes.
Was that my mistake, starting at the start? Yeah. Oh, well, look at me making a terrible error.
You should have gone straight to the Flash. Actually, I don't know. Flash is very nice. You like
at some
you
point,
like being scenic with your world. And
at some point,
I'm surprised you wouldn't like Arrow. How dark it is, and just like, is it everything miserable?
At some point, sit me down and I'll watch the first few episodes of Flash with you. There we go. That's how much I care about you, Fraser.
No, it's how much I care about the show. Don't try and say it's about me.
Wow.
No, I'm joking.
We were friends before this show.
Not anymore.
Now we hate each other.
Now we're just people who talk across.
We have to see each other once a week. We can't stand each other.
We just have to talk across from one another about stuff. Comics.
I don't know what I'd do if you weren't in my life. Who would I geek out with?
Wow. Wow.
I'd probably just like sit at home and pretend I'd got a friend that I could geek out
Well,
with.
make a makeshift Fraser. Is that what you did when I was in America for the summer?
It was a blow-up doll with floppy hair.
A Spider-Man one.
Yeah, a Spider-Man outfit and floppy hair.
Build-A-Bear. You could get one from there.
A Build-A-Bear Fraser.
And then the voice inside could just be our intro, but just my name is Fraser. Repeatedly. It's like, I'm Group. Now, speaking of Netflix...
That was definitely a tangent tornado. I apologise for that. Just to be very clear, I don't have a blow-up doll version of Fraser. Just to make that
I was hoping you were just going to say you don't have a blow-up doll, but I'm not going to put that past you.
No, I don't. I don't have a blow-up doll.
So, speaking of Netflix, and interestingly enough, the Marvel cancellations, Eminem called Netflix out on cancelling The Punisher.
Yeah, he did.
And John Berthel, the actor who plays Frank Castle's like, yeah, like getting back with it. And I was like, how cool is this?
He's not wrong though, is he?
No, he's like 100% not wrong. I just like that. I don't know that. I mean, obviously, celebrities are people too, and they have the stuff they're into. But it's like it makes more and more sense that Eminem would be really into The Punisher, and I'm gutted that he didn't do some music for The Punisher like he did for Venom. Venom.
Well, wasn't Eminem in Punisher at one point?
In the comics, yeah, there was a bit there, yeah.
That's a level of celebrity where you just walk up to Marvel and say, I really like Punisher, can I be in it? And they go, yes, you can, Eminem.
Well, they did a load of cool rap covers for the for Marvel characters. Like, they did a whole series of it, and there's loads of like rappers that are into Marvel. I mean, I imagine Kendrick Lamar's more into it now because of Black Panther. But
or he's just into making a lot of money.
That is also true. But the Wu-Tang Clan as well, like, they're really into it. Some of them have wrote comics. will.i.am's not really a rapper, but he's a musician. will.i.am's really into comics. He's wrote his own series. Black Eyed Peas have had their own versions of comics, I think. I think they, like, band have been comics. So there is that connection between rap and comics. So, like,
which isn't one that would be
you wouldn't necessarily
think.
So if anyone calls you out on comics, just like, yeah, well, all these cool rappers,
Eminem agrees with me.
All these cool rappers, you're like, yeah, they listen to comics now. They read comics now as well.
Here's the thing about The Punisher. Marvel had 4 goes at The Punisher before they got it right, and they got it so right with the Netflix show that no wonder Eminem and all of his mates, all of his mates that agree with him. We're all mates
because you're both bald.
I just feel like we're mates because of our similar opinion.
Of course, yeah.
In
this instance,
my mate Marshall. That's Eminem. No, seriously though, it is incredibly frustrating. As a fan of The Punisher, I love The Punisher, and I even pretended I liked the Punisher films. I liked The Punisher so much, and they weren't good films, were they?
No.
I pretended I liked them just because I just wanted to like them. I wanted them to be good.
Superheroes,
and I didn't have to do that with the Netflix show.
And you don't have to do it anymore. If a superhero thing's or comic book thing's bad now, it's like, oh yeah, it's bad. There may be another good one. It's fine.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it?
Well, it's like there was a time where that wasn't the case. You had to pretend everything was good.
Yeah,
and you were kind of lying to yourself. Now, it's a good little segue because we're talking about a long period of time, and for the longest time, nice bit of Billy Joel for you there.
Oh.
Hugh Jackman and Patrick Stewart have been playing Wolverine and Professor X for so long. In fact, they've got a Guinness World Record for the longest Marvel careers. Now, I do love a good Guinness World Record book. I remember the one in my school library, and it was my go-to book when we had to read something. I'm like, I'm going to look at some weird and cool stuff, like the guy with really long nails. But it's kind of bizarre that this is a Guinness World Record, if I'm honest. Pretty cool. Like, it was cool seeing them with their little placards and stuff. But what was your opinions of this?
Well, 16 years is a long time. At no point am I saying that it's not, and it's incredible that
it's 18 years.
Is it 18?
Yeah. Old enough to drink over here.
And watch a Wolverine film. Two very different actors. One who basically got his break as an X-Men actor, and one who was already established as an absolute legend of acting.
Yeah, not only acting as well, but like the sci-fi community with like Star Trek.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the two of them as a combo, it's really really lovely that they've both... One has consolidated and the other has flourished into a career because of their involvement with the X-Men. I'm not sure it's world record worthy. You know, there are people...
It's a nice acknowledgement.
There are people... for example,
bizarre.
the people who've played The Simpsons have played those characters for significantly longer than... So that's a world record. Is it Harry Shearer that plays Homer?
Yeah. You know what? They might probably have... Like, I can imagine if we Google, they might have a record for it.
And, you know... We've established we like wrestling on this show. Someone like Vince McMahon has played the Vince McMahon character for goodness how long?
His whole life.
Yeah,
it's not
exactly.
A character. It's him.
Well, maybe that's arguable, but you know what I'm getting at. Hulk Hogan has played. Terry Bollea has played Hulk Hogan for his entire life,
and soon Chris Hemsworth will play him.
Well, there we go
for another show.
But I'm not downplaying 18 years as characters, but bizarre. It's a bit of a shonky world record.
I agree that it's a bizarre world record, and you know, if he agrees to come back for the if they agree to come back for the MCU, which you know would be totally cool if they did that, just even for a one-off cameo, then the record gets longer. Now, here's a question. So I totally agree with the whole, like, it is random that this is Guinness World Record.
I don't want them to leave at all. I love them playing those characters.
It's a nice acknowledgement. Do you think anyone's going to beat it? 18 years.
Well, it depends on whether or not they sign a nice little massive contract with a certain
Robert Downey Jr.
So I was
going to say, for him, that's 2026 he has to match. So that's, 7 more years as Tony Stark. And considering that they've hinted a lot about his death or his life after the Avengers, don't think it... You know who it might happen to? Tom Holland, because he started off so young as Spider-Man. And there's so many stories of...
You're obsessed.
No, but it is true. I'm not... come on, I'm not wrong. Like, the other youngest characters, like the Leatia White, who plays Shuri... Mm-hmm. So she could go on. So the two of them could get a nice little placard together. The girl who plays Casey Lang in Ant-Man, but it's looking like she's already getting replaced for an older when they do the time jump. So I am obsessed with Spider-Man, yes, but I'm just saying that's the one person I can see, unless they do an Ultimate Universe and kill him really young.
Oh, wouldn't that be sad?
It would be sad. Now,
speaking, and Mr. Stark, I don't want to go.
Speaking of more sad things and just really disgraceful things, to be honest. So the Venom writer Donny Cates has been receiving death threats over the Venom 11 issue, and this is because so it's been revealed that the symbiote had been messing with Eddie's mind and stuff like that. It basically saying stuff like his cancer wasn't as bad as it was, but the Venom symbiote was making him reliant on him. Just, you know, storytelling stuff, something that makes the story a bit more interesting.
I mean, storytelling that had already been established at the very, very beginning because the symbiote was manipulative with Peter Parker.
Yeah, exactly.
That's exactly what you'd expect from the symbiote.
So, but there's the thing is, it's coming from this... I don't want a horrible side of the internet where the thing that the basis it's sort of coming from is shippers. Now, as a millennial to explain to a non-millennial,
Gen Xer,
I'll just say, don't worry, mate. A shipper is someone who, like, will see two characters together. You did it the other week with Young Justice. You saw Bart Allen and Superboy, and you thought, oh, and them two together. It's like romanticizing two characters or seeing two characters together, and there's shippers for the symbiote and Eddie. Now, I get this sort of like they're working together, the one sort of thing.
You mean like fan fiction stuff?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's based off fan fiction.
I didn't do that at all. I saw a panel that strongly suggested that they were a couple.
No, but like shipping.
I didn't then go and write 100 pages on the internet.
Shipping is a lesser version of fan fictions. It starts as a ship and then it develops. So like the 3 stages of fan fiction.
Right.
You read the book. You ship them, or like you see like maybe a relationship there. Then you do ship them. You're like, oh, actually, I could see them together, and then you write the fan fiction. Some of us just stay at step 2. Some of us stay at step 1.
I think I'm good with step 1.
Some of us, like me, just put them. Oh no, they're just all friends, aren't they? Oh no, wait.
Wow.
But yeah, so this is where all the hate's and It's sickening to see that this is still
pathetic.
happening.
Death threats over a comic book. Come on now. I love my comic books, but that's pathetic.
But what I do want to shout, like, we always sort of want to do this. We talked about the Love is Love book. It's sort of like taking the positives out of a terrible situation. Is all the fellow comic book writers, just my whole Twitter feed, and it was great to see, were backing him. Like, Dan Slott was like, yeah, replace the words Venom with Spidey, and I received the same things. And he was just giving advice on how to deal with the situation. And it's the same because Donny Cates is doing some incredible stuff with Venom. They're taking, him and Ryan Stegman are taking a 3-issue breaks, and some people were scared about that. Like, no, does this mean you're off Venom? But like, oh no, we're just taking free issue break for War of the Realms. So they're doing that. They're setting something incredible up on Free Comic Book Day with the Spider-Man team up. They were talking about bringing back the Ultimate Universe. We talked about that a few weeks ago. So it's when they're doing so much good and then you get this hate, it just sort of derails you.
There is an element of retcon in what he's doing with the Venom comics, and I understand as a fan of stuff. I've never been a fan of retcons myself. Like Dawn in Buffy, I got very, very annoyed by that. I thought it was very silly, but then I warmed to Dawn. And they regularly press the reset button in Doctor Who, which is incredibly frustrating, and sometimes is quite a cheap way of getting out of a nasty situation. And yeah, I understand that retcons suck, but sometimes they don't, and sometimes you've got to give something a chance, and never, ever, ever send a death threat.
It's and it's like what you say. It's interesting that you mentioned the words, actually, because this is the start of a story. So it could develop that, you know, something else is at play, or just like it's for the story they're telling, just accept it. And if you don't want to read that, you don't have to read that issue. You can skip this story and then go on to the next one and live in the whole in your head. And you know what? If you do ship them, sometimes relationships aren't all nice. You know, someone does sometimes manipulate the other person.
Well, yeah, exactly right.
Well, then I guess they'd be angry because that's a bad relationship. Maybe it's, you know, relationships can start off rocky and then get good, I imagine. I don't really have any experience with that.
You're adorable. They can.
But yeah, now we're going to keep on this negative Nelly way, but with some positive outcomes out of it. So the Captain Marvel's team's up. So Zachary Levi, who plays Shazam, who was originally called Captain Marvel in DC, and it came to the aid of fellow Captain Marvel, the Marvel film that's coming out, because there was a load of trolls on Rotten Tomatoes. Basically, the way Rotten Tomatoes works is there's an audience response thing you can sort of put in your audience responses once you've seen the film. Now, that's a very important thing to say. Once you have seen the film.
Oh, I saw this.
Because before this, a load of haters were just putting in like terrible audience reactions, and it was getting all this negative hate. And
because the lead's a woman, or
because basically that's what it was. Because Ghostbusters, the female Ghostbusters, got the same thing, and you can say that negatively affected its box office. Star Wars has had it before because of a female lead. What else? Other films, anyway, basically with female leads. But what the haters were saying on there was and there's a lot of people who do this. They'll hate on one thing and they'll use another film as like a sort of, oh, this is why I hate it. So they're saying that they hate this Captain Marvel film because it's not Captain Marvel Shazam. And then Zachary Levi was like, they have no relation, it doesn't affect me. And he sort of came to the rescue, and he's like, I actually support Captain Marvel, I want this to do really well. The director chipped in, so they all chipped in, and that was the nice part of this situation, was like, you know, people actually sticking together, and class act by Zachary Levi. And you know what, I'm excited for both films.
Me too. Well, more so Captain Marvel than Shazam.
Something really cool came out of this. Rotten Tomatoes have now, I mean, it's probably been a long time coming, have made it that you can't submit an audience report until the films come out of wide release.
Yeah, that just makes perfect sense.
Yeah,
I'm surprised that wasn't already the case.
Critics obviously can do it beforehand, because some people get to see screenings before, so that's why they had it in there. But if this stuff kept happening, it was like...
And it's clear that people were abusing the trust that they put. That if you'd seen like a test screening...
Exactly.
Oh, did you know, some people... Their life.
the worst kind of people, but I'm glad there's good people out there just to set them straight, basically.
Yeah.
And now, a nice bit of Captain Marvel news is apparently it's going to start with a nice Stan Lee tribute, which I'm very excited about. And there was a nice tribute to Stan Lee. He was in the memorial for in the Oscars, and I thought that was a nice, classy touch. And yeah,
well, I think it's important. It's the first film release since Stan Lee died, and I hope it fits. I don't care if it doesn't, because it's more important that it's there than it makes sense.
Yeah, 100%.
I don't care. Just give me some Stan Lee love.
I was going to say
he deserves it.
The tributes that
and we deserve it as fans.
Yeah, the tributes that have been on there so far for like the Spider-Man game, Into the Spider-Verse, and all the other ones. I think Wreck-It Ralph might have had one as well. And in the comics, of course, the tributes... Oh, and TV show like Punisher, sorry, I'm digressing. But all the tributes that we've seen so far have been nice, so it'd be nice to see the first one in the MCU. Now, I was going to use the Captain Marvel's team up to switch over to DC news, but we're doing that now. So, Aquaman 2 has been greenlit for 2022 release.
That's a way away.
It is, well, yeah, 3 years.
We've got that spin-off first,
We've got that spin-off, we've got The Trench, you know, we've got some other ones, we've got that Birds of Prey film. So it's cool that it's happening. Oh, we've got The Batman and The Suicide Squad. I'm surprised this isn't just going to be called The Aquaman.
Are they really doing that?
Yeah.
Wow.
A lot of those.
DC.
What's the guy in the Facebook film? Justin Timberlake's character in the Facebook film will be livid.
Napster guy.
Yeah. Drop the.
The were a good band in the 90s.
There's a band called The.
There was. They were called The.
Brilliant. We've got a Superboy who's been casted in Titans. It's called Josh. His name is Joshua Orpin. Sorry if I've said that wrong.
I looked him up. He's not been in much.
A relatively unknown, which is pretty cool. Sort of like what they've been going with the rest of the cast from Australia. And Australians and New Zealand's and the UK actors we've been taking those American jobs. Good. Because we're better actors. No, I'm joking. Ooh. No, I think they, like, a lot of American casting agencies, I think the UK do a lot of Shakespearean acting and a lot of acting, and a lot of Americans just seem to be like, yeah, I'm hot, so cast me, please. Now, that's not all American actors.
He's got the right look, but I've not seen anything he's been in, so fingers crossed.
I was excited.
He's got the acting skills.
I was so excited at the end of Titans when they went into the mystery thing, and I was like, oh, this is where Superboy is. And I was like, no. And then we saw Crypto the dog, and I was like, yeah.
Pooch.
This is going to be awesome. Who are they going to cast for the dog, though? That's my question. Probably the dog they used. Unless, he's turned into a total diva. He's been like, yeah, I've been on Netflix, though. Bark, that.
Unless they cast... Oh, what's his name? The guy in Pitch Black who plays Groot.
Who? Oh, Vin Diesel.
Vin Diesel. I want Vin Diesel to be the dog. Well, he's played Groot, so he might as well play the dog.
Borg.
Woof. Yeah, get Vin Diesel to play the dog. That'd be ace.
I'm sure he'd be well down for it. Proper nerd him. Proper geek.
He is.
Now... Here's a bit of bad news. DC, we talk about comics and their backlash. DC cancels The Second Coming after backlash from like religious groups and stuff like that. The Second Coming basically is Jesus comes down to Earth, like in The Second Coming, you've heard probably from the Bible. I don't really know the Bible that well, but I imagine that's a thing. And a superhero basically just sort of teams up with him and shows him the world. We were going to put this on Polo Pass. It seems like DC have had to pass it all together, so we can't read this anymore. Well, future issues. But...
Well, as a humanist, I see stuff like this all the time, and I'm going to try my best not to rage. There's a lot of problem with religion thinking that it's more important than anything else, and people using their religion to get on their high horse, and no one had actually read this book before they started to protest about it.
Which is the worst.
That's just pathetic. How can you possibly know whether or not this book is done tastefully or badly?
Yeah, exactly.
Without reading the damned book?
Yeah, for all you know, they might, like, because a big one is the Kevin Smith film Dogma. And obviously that's a bit of a satire on Christianity and stuff like that. But he's a Christian himself. Or is it Catholic? One of the two.
Catholics are
it's
Christians.
Catholics. Well, then, there you go then. The C's. But he's one of them. He's a God person. And he, so he did it. So it could, like the writer, I obviously haven't researched this and to see if he is a Christian or a Catholic, but you know what I mean? It's a story. And at the end of the day, the Bible is a story. Whether it's true or not is, your own
Let's not speculate on that. We all know my opinion on that. But it's typical self-righteousness by religious people.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
And the thing that got me is, well, you wouldn't have done it with Muhammad or Buddha. Well, why couldn't they have done it with... Perhaps not Muhammad, after all that stuff with the cartoons and... And what was that, French... The French company.
Oh, Le Suis Charlie or something.
Je Suis Charlie and all that. But I just think that's a weak argument. Well, you won't pick on the other religions, you're picking on us.
We're not picking...
Nobody's
like they're not picking
anybody.
on you. And the thing is like, they're not doing it because of reactions like this. Just stop, like, if people stop reacting like that and just accept the story, like South Park did a episode on it, didn't they? With
the super religious friends or whatever it was.
Yeah. Oh, they did that, and they did the whole thing of like you can't show Muhammad and stuff like that, and then they did, and the world was like chaos. And it's just, I don't know. I feel like everyone's entitled to their own opinion, obviously, in their own religion. But
you are.
But also, people are entitled to express what they want to in stories and stuff like that. And as long as they're like, you know what I mean? Like, Jesus wasn't, I don't know, teabagging a nun or something. Or, you know what I mean? Going, hey, spring break. He was literally learning from a superhero who is a good guy. It's not like you had Jesus against the...
Yeah, it's incredibly frustrating. I actually think it could have been quite a fun book. And
exactly.
I think the people who raged about it might have actually enjoyed it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's... it's a recent reboot. It could be a reboot from the Bible.
Get a Bible reboot.
Bible reboot. Now, if they did the Bible in comic form...
They have done the Bible in comic form.
Really?
Yes.
Brilliant.
I've seen it.
Brilliant.
The art's really good, actually.
Should be, the 16 Chapel and all that stuff they've got there.
16, not 16.
I don't know religion, clearly. This is not my area of expertise.
Wow.
What is my area of expertise is superheroes and their comics. So Matt Fraction from Sex Criminals fame also did a great run on Hawkeye, and Greg Rucka will be writing Superman spin-offs, which will be Jimmy Olsen and Lois Lane, which seem like bizarre spin-offs, but with these writers at the helm of them, 100% down with this. I could get
I don't know.
these.
I mean, they're well established and well fleshed out characters. They're not, they're not spectacular. They're not super powered, but they're definitely interesting characters that have got a very rich history. Whether or not they'll sell, I think they're going to be really good quality and sell terribly.
Yeah, that's going to be the struggle.
Is my prediction.
Which is why I think they've got these writers on them, because it's like the big names.
Yeah.
It's a spin-off from the current run, Bendis' current run as well.
Are they ongoing or are they limited run?
At the moment, I think it'd be like a limited run, or it'll be one of them. They'll see how it picks up. And
I think as a limited run, it could do well.
Yeah.
Perhaps as an ongoing, that's very brave.
Yeah, the long term. Yeah, you suffer with long term books. Like I know Blue Beetle as well. There's been a couple. The Rebirth books that have been cancelled have been those characters who haven't typically got their own series before, and maybe if like a 12-issue run for some, 13 issues is quite good.
Yeah.
6 issues, that's sort of like your first hurdle. Is like your trade, like that's your first trade, and if you sort of stop there, you sort of been like, it might have been because you're like no one was buying your book, or it might just be like, oh, we run out of stories. But yeah, I could see it. I'd definitely, if they pop up, we'll throw them on pull or pass. I'm down for that.
Yeah, I reckon so. I'd like to read that.
Now, these two are very fickle comic book stories, but there has been Bluntman and Chronic Comics, and there is a Jay and Silent Bob Secret Stash comic book store, so we're going to talk about it.
Really?
Jay and Silent Bob Reboot has started filming. Kevin Smith actually released a video earlier this week, well, later on this week actually, with a little behind the scenes, and they were talking about like a tech day they do and how he used to hate tech days, but now that he's an older filmmaker and it's took a while for this reboot to get started and he nearly died, that he's starting to appreciate the small things like the tech days and stuff like that. And it was nice. It's sort of, he's bringing all his friends back together, sort of similar to how Tim Burton did with Big Fish, and he even put on like Twitter, he was like, oh yeah, it's like the MCU but with less money. The View Askewverse, and sort of like it's another addition to that. We talked about Kevin Smith, obviously, the last couple of weeks with Howard the Duck, and he's just going into that crazy where it's like, I can make what I want.
We do love Kevin Smith on this show.
Of course we do.
So sounds good. More Jay and Silent Bob. Whoa.
Exactly, hilarious. I hope there's more. I hope they bring out new comics for it as well. I just feel like preludes and just make fun of what preludes are.
Yeah,
that might be a suggestion. A suggestion we might have to float his way on Twitter. But yeah, I'm 100% down for this.
That would be really funny if they do like prequels, but they don't make themselves up and they're just old, and they do like a prequel where they look older than the originals. That would be beautifully peculiar.
Just like that. And the last bit of news, if you were listening around Christmas time, you know that in 1996, October to be specific, DC released comic books based off the cult classic Space Jam. Space Jam 2 with LeBron James has got a release date for the 16th of July 2021. So if this show's still running, expect a load of Space Jam remixes then.
I want Michael Jordan to be in it. I know LeBron James is like the famousest basketball player now, but I want Michael Jordan back in it. I want at least a cameo.
I think there was rumours that he'll do a cameo, and I can imagine he would do it. Like, yes. What else is he doing?
Motivational speaking, probably. Isn't that what everyone does after sports?
Running scams and stuff like that. There's an interesting story behind why he went into basketball. He was a big gambler and got into loads of trouble. But that's for a sports radio show. And we're a comic book radio show.
We are.
And that's the news for this week. All done. We want to know, though, your geeky thoughts. So you can send them over on our Facebook discussion group, our Twitter. You can comment below on YouTube. You can throw a pigeon our way, get an owl from
Don't throw a pigeon. That's mean.
Kindly ask a pigeon to send us a message.
Yeah.
There's loads of pigeons around Manchester. I'm sure one of them will find us.
Yeah.
And Mark's favourite site, Tumblr. I'm not sure how you send us a message on that. Tumblr's sort of just been our way of just, here is everything we do. You can click on one of these with what you want to watch.
Tumblr.
Or listen.
To listen to Geek of the Week, be sure to tune in next week. Same geek time, same geek channel.
And if you want to follow us on social media, it's at GOTW Radio on Twitter. Search for Geek of the Week Radio Show on Facebook. And to listen again, it's www.mixcloud.com/Geek of the Week Radio Show.